Xenites! Welcome back to the Babbling Bards podcast.
Bubbling?
Yes.
Bubbling. Okay.
We're-
Podcast made by Xenites.
For Xenites, we're your happy hosts.
I'm
I'm Trista,
Liliana.
and we've got a doozy for you today. Not one of our favorite episodes, but you'll get a little bit better commentary than the episode For Him the Bell Tolls. Because today it's all about Ulysses.
Ulysses.
Yes.
It is.
How many chakrams would you rate this episode, Liliana?
I don't know. Maybe a 3.
Yeah?
Just because of the whole CGI of Poseidon. Otherwise, maybe a 2.5. I liked seeing Poseidon. I thought that was cool how they did that. What? You're giving me a look.
I don't even give it like a 2. And the only reason that I give it what I do is because of Poseidon.
You too.
Yeah. John D'Aquino.
Who?
John D'Aquino, the guy that played Ulysses in this episode.
Okay.
He,
That is name.
yeah, he just, when we were at the retreat,
Uh-huh.
we heard a phrase used to describe Ulysses, and it just fit completely well. They called Ulysses soggy white bread.
That's right.
And that could not be more true, in my opinion.
Who was it that said that? I can't remember.
It was when we were playing the Xena trading card game.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can't remember her
Oh my
name.
god, I can't think of her name right now. But she's the one that hosts the podcast History is Gay.
Yeah.
So if you guys have a second to check that out, check it out. 'Cause yeah,
But yeah.
it's kind of cool.
We said we're totally going to use that on our
Like we're
on
gonna-
our next podcast.
She's like, yeah, do it. So there you go. I could not feel that more accurately describes Ulysses' character. It's not that the episode was badly written.
No.
I don't even know who wrote this episode. That's Liliana's department.
Who wrote this episode?
Yeah, who wrote the episode, Liliana?
It was written by R.J. Stewart.
Okay. So R.J. Stewart, we all know, is one of the better writers on Xena.
Yeah.
You know, he's written a lot of the staple episodes that fans absolutely adore. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those episodes that I really wanted to like, but I just couldn't. Like, even the first time I saw it. And a huge deal of it is because of John D'Aquino. I feel like his performance as Ulysses fell flat. And even Lucy Lawless has gone on record and said that she believes he was a miscast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She said she didn't believe the casting director did an appropriate job when they cast the character of Ulysses.
Wow.
And it totally reads on screen because they have, in my opinion, they have no on-screen chemistry. None. Yeah. I mean, it's, Yeah. When you get used to seeing, like, Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor acting, and they bounce off each other really well. They have what is referred to as lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And then you see Lucy Lawless bounce off Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And they have amazing on-screen chemistry.
They do.
I mean, it's really hard to, like, look at an episode that it feels like it takes so many steps back. Because it almost, correct me if I'm not correct.
Wrong.
This episode to me almost feels like we're back in season 1 with one of the cheesy episodes. So I believe we have a what date did this originally air?
Let me see here. April 21st, 1997.
That seems like a really big jump from the last episode.
From the last...
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
It seems like a really big jump.
Because the last one...
Blind Fate? No.
Last one was April 14th.
Yeah. God, why does that seem like such a large jump, though?
I don't know. Let's see.
No, I don't know. So anyway.
You know what? It's because For him, the bell tolls aired in February, and then we jumped to the execution, which aired in April.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Because that was their sabbatical time.
Yeah,
okay, that makes more sense now.
That's why. There's the jump.
So, we'll kick it off with a disclaimer. Despite Gabrielle's incessant hurling, Ulysses' ship was not harmed during the production of this motion picture. This episode is the first episode that Gabrielle discovers that she suffers from seasickness. And boy, does she suffer.
She's just puking everywhere.
Poor thing. When we kick the episode off, you have a shot of Xena and Gabrielle, and they're walking towards the beach.
Right.
And Gabrielle's trying her best to get Xena to relax, you know.
Relax and smell the flowers.
Yeah. What flowers?
What flowers?
And Gabrielle's like, it's an expression.
Yeah.
Enjoy the peaceful moments in life.
Yeah.
And she tells her to close her eyes and just listen. And poor Gabrielle, Xena keeps shooting her down at every turn. Mm-hmm. She's like, close your eyes. What do you hear? The seagulls. Okay, what do you feel when you hear seagulls?
She feels irritated because they're so noisy.
Mm-hmm. And then, what else do you hear? The sea.
Sea.
What do you think of when you hear the peaceful grandeur of the sea?
How glad she is to be on dry land.
Yeah. I mean, she finds a positive, And Gabrielle tells her, she's like, you're so practical.
Yeah.
The sea's a beautiful expression of nature. Mm-hmm. And then Gabrielle tells her to concentrate on the sound of the waves and have a sense of peace.
Sense of peace.
And then Xena draws her sword.
Yeah. The sea makes you draw your sword?
No, but the sound of a battle does.
Mm-hmm.
So, Xena, takes note of this fella fighting 3 bad guys.
Yeah.
And so she just, reclines back and starts
smelling the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gabrielle told her to.
And Gabrielle's like, are we not going to help him? Nope. No. So more thugs come out, and Xena's like, okay, now we help him.
Now it's time to jump in and join the fight. So,
and they do.
Yeah. And she jumps in, and then they introduce themselves, and then it's like they instinctively know to do the whole, what was it? He grabs her and starts spinning her around and knocking everybody down.
We have an oopsie right here as well.
Uh-huh.
Actually, we have 2 oopsies on this scene. If you pay attention when Ulysses starts spinning Xena around, she passes by one thug with her foot that's just gotten himself up off the ground. By the time she's 2 or 3 thugs over from him, the thug that just got up off the ground throws himself back down on the ground as if he's been kicked. So, watch out for that. He falls long after Xena's legs supposedly kicked him. Mm-hmm. So the timing was off just a bit on there. And then at the end of the fight, when Xena and Ulysses throw their swords into the sand, there's an aerial shot. You can't see their swords in the ground anywhere. Surprise! It's a continuity error.
Mm-hmm. You can totally pick out the stunt double.
Yeah. You can pick out
the Ulysses stunt double is so obvious.
Do you remember why they use stunt doubles so frequently when they're working with the main actors?
So that they wouldn't get clobbered.
Pretty much. Why?
Because Lucy did that on... Wasn't it Lucy that did it?
Yeah.
On Hercules?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay,
and the stunt doubles are all afraid of Renee O'Connor because she's broken several of their noses. And
that's awesome.
And can we just point out, how good of a fighter Gabrielle's turned into? Mm-hmm. Because, when she hits or lands a kick or packs a punch, she can knock somebody almost as far as Xena can.
Yeah.
So, it's where did that come from?
She's turned into a tough little cookie.
Yeah. So, Xena and Ulysses continue talking, and Ulysses says that he is the king of Ithaca. Gabrielle, the bard in her, pops out and she's all, "You're that Ulysses?"
Yep.
Which is ironic because if you'll remember back to Athens Academy...
Of the Performing Bards.
Athens City Academy
Yeah.
of Performing Bards.
Mm-hmm.
Gabrielle went to Bardic College, I guess you could say,
Okay.
with Homer.
Yeah.
Homer was the one that wrote the Odyssey, which tells the story of Ulysses.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, wow, he was published that quickly? He wouldn't have even been out of school yet.
Right?
So,
Yes.
Ulysses goes on and he tells Xena and Gabrielle that there are pirates running amok
Mm-hmm.
to try to get control of Ithaca.
And there's a certain someone trying to keep him from reaching Ithaca.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we see... Arrgh,
The best part of the entire episode.
Poseidon exploding out of the water.
Poseidon?
Poseidon. Did I say Poseidon?
Yes. It was cute.
Poseidon. Coming out of the water.
Yes.
Which is the scene from the title sequence.
It's not the scene from the title sequence.
Or the clip.
The whole reason this episode came about in the first place, thank you, R.J. Stewart, is because fans wrote in continually wanting to know where the episode with Poseidon
What
was.
episode that was. That's right.
Because in the title sequence, the shot they used with Poseidon was only made for the theme music.
Yeah.
There was never going to be an episode.
There was no intention of that being in anything.
So it's
but
totally the fans' fault that we got this episode.
Yay, fans!
Woohoo! Yes.
Yes.
So then we go into a time of ancient gods.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. So Poseidon pretty much tells Xena, stay out of it. None of her business.
Because his nephew has a fondness for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Legit, that's what he tells her.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Ares, of course.
Yeah. So we find out exactly why Poseidon has it in for Ulysses. Why is that, Liliana?
Because he blinded his son.
Polyphemus.
Polyphemus. Who was a Cyclops. And then Xena makes a little comment that she blinded a Cyclops herself.
Which is a callback to the episode Sins of the Past, when she and Gabrielle both come in contact with the blinded Cyclops.
Poseidon was like, what was that? So.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Poseidon is actually voiced by Charles Siebert, who we read into in the episode 10 Little Warlords. He's the one that played Sisyphus. The new Sisyphus.
Yeah.
In the episode 10 Little Warlords. He also is one of the regular staple directors on the series. So, it's a nice little non-facial Easter egg for him, I guess. Right?
Yup. So, Poseidon goes on, pretty much doesn't want Xena to help him, and tells him, don't let her die for a lost cause. And then he also tells him that his wife is dead, right?
He lied.
He lied.
Yes, he lied. We're terrible.
He pretty much tells him to go start a new life somewhere else. Yeah.
He never said with Xena.
No. And then, Ulysses is
we gotta lower our voice. Willow just covered her ears.
Oh, she's fine. Oh
She's trying to take a nap.
You didn't say that with Joshua right here trying to take his nap.
Well, that's because Joxer would sleep through a train coming through the house. Joxer
She's
is
fine.
the train coming through the house.
He is. Wait, she'll be fine. Ulysses is pretty much,
Ithaca
never
needs him.
Ithaca needs me.
He has a hero complex.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yeah. And then Poseidon's like, alright. But, to get there, it's an island. You gotta go through my domain. So, good luck with that.
And he tells them they'll both feel his deadly power.
Alright. And then, whoosh, back into the sea he goes. Yes.
And then we cut to the cave he's been staying in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right there.
And then he and Xena are talking, and he tells Xena, because she's asked how he ended up blinding Polyphemus. And he says, well, way back from Troy, stopped by his island.
Yeah.
And he said, because they needed food.
Right.
And unfortunately, so was that one-eyed monster. So, Gabrielle tries her hand at making a little joke.
Bit off more than he can chew.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Gabrielle, you can see, feels very misplaced in this episode. Like, it's almost like R.J. Stewart gave her little to no thought in this entire episode. You know what I mean? Because she didn't have many lines, which was, fine. Because, actors don't have to have thousands of lines all the time. And luckily for them, Renee O'Connor is amazing at telling an entire story on her face. She doesn't need speech half the time, which is kind of... And it's the same way with Lucy Lawless. It's kind of a testament to their acting skills. And, but you can see the entire episode, Gabrielle comes off as so uncomfortable around Ulysses. And I think that's, as far as the subtext forums go, this episode I was surprised had, like, a chunky amount of subtext for one that was, like, about Xena getting ready to drop her panties for some other dude. Because Gabrielle's, like, really uncomfortable around
the two of them.
Yeah. And if you look, it's funny because Xena doesn't seem like her affections for Gabrielle have wavered at all. Yet she has all this new set of emotion coming in for Ulysses, and Ulysses is completely disinterested in Gabrielle. But anyway, we'll get more about that later.
Yep.
Because I think that's part of what irritates me. Is because I'm all for bringing guest stars on. Hell, I'm all for Xena falling for somebody, But the fact that you take your two main actors and one that the series centers around, you kind of just shove off to the side. I mean, they might as well have written Gabrielle off on an entirely different journey, for this episode.
Yeah.
Sent her back to the academy or had her going and doing something else because she wasn't prevalent at all in this episode.
No. She was just puking everywhere.
And they used her for her dancing ability.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. This episode does not hit me in the feels.
They just go on and chit-chat about stuff. They talk about Troy and all that. And and then we're, like, at the camp. Okay, so they're in the cave. So they didn't, stay in the cave. They decided to camp outside.
Stupid, huh?
Instead of, staying inside the cave where, you're protected from, I don't know, wind, rain, whatever. Bugs.
Ew, bugs.
So they decided to, leave the cave and go camp outside. Because
isn't that what
that makes sense? I mean, if I had a cave, I'd stay in the cave because, it'd shelter instead of, I don't know. What would you do?
I would have gone where there was the least amount of dirt possible.
Yeah, that's what you would do.
I would have slept on a boat. They're actually viewing the ship. They're keeping watch over the ship.
Is that what they're doing?
That's why they're outside.
Okay.
Because Ulysses, when he comes out, he asks... when Ulysses comes out, Xena asks him, how does it look with the ship? And he tells her it's swarming with pirates.
Okay. Alright, this is before they... Okay.
And then Xena tells him, well, wait until dawn and then they'll attack.
No, okay. Okay. That's right.
And then they have a little heart-to-heart, and Xena's like, her Poseidon talk about your wife. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
And then he gives a little backstory about himself and Penelope, saying they were kids when they fell in love and married, and then she went to fight in Troy. Or he went to fight in Troy.
He went, yeah.
And this is where they have you have the scene where Gabrielle gets thirsty in it.
Yeah, because they both turn their swords on her. She's like, I'm just thirsty.
Well, it's funny because Xena's gone from paying attention to everything to not paying attention to anything. Because when Ulysses comes up, she pulls her sword on him. And he said, well, your friend would have already been dead. And she said, no, you're wrong. I heard you when you stepped behind the oak. I would have readjusted.
Yeah.
If I'd heard you move close to her. So, and here they're both just totally out of it because Gabrielle's able to sneak up on him. And let's face it, she's not the most quiet person in the world.
No, she's not. And then
I do like the boat episodes because they say stuff like poop deck.
Okay. They said that on it? Oh, get a man on the poop deck.
Say stuff like poop deck and starboard and...
Why did they call it poop deck?
I don't know.
Do we really want to know?
I don't know if we really want to know or not. Because usually when you hear them talking about that, you always hear them say, scrub the poop deck. Why? Is it poop they're scrubbing off the poop deck? Or maybe it's like seagull poop.
I don't know.
Maybe because that's like your top layer of the ship.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's where all like the bird poo is. Like on the car.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
Huh. So
inquiring minds want to know, so if you guys know, tell us. Tell us now.
So obviously, like, the
leave it in the
ship
comments.
like that.
It's a new ship.
Where would they go? Where would they go? Because I'm pretty sure that back then the ships didn't have like latrines.
They didn't have latrines. It would have been the same deal as they had in the house. They would have had a bucket, a chamber pot.
Yeah. And you just toss it over.
A majority of your sailors were men. They would have just dangled it over the side and let it rip, tater chip.
Well, that, yeah. But,
if they needed to use the poop deck.
The poop deck.
I don't know. I'm sure they just, like, sat up on the side of the boat. And...
then it would be, like, all over this.
Well, maybe they anchored first. Maybe it's like, when you're riding in the car with the kids, and you stop at a service station because one of them really has to go, and it's like, come on, we can't move till you're done. Maybe they did that when they dropped the anchor so it wouldn't fly all on the side of the boat. Maybe they didn't poop that back then. I don't know. Well, we know they did because Xena used Gabrielle's scroll.
She did. We'll just stick with they used a bucket. And just tossed it over when they were done.
Poor fishies.
Ew.
Poor fishies and future scuba divers and swimmers and... Ugh. I can't think about it anymore.
Okay, moving on. Enough about the poop deck. Oh my goodness.
So, then we cut to Gabrielle.
Gabrielle in her funky wig there.
And her outfit.
She looks like a gypsy. Doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. She does indeed. And she wants to know where she can find a real man.
Uh-huh.
So, she dances for them. And if you guys will pay attention, there's a little callback to the episode Royal Couple of Thieves here. Because Gabrielle dances to the same music that Xena as Cherish dances to when she does the Dance of the Three Veils, even though she only has 2 veils.
Huh.
It's the same music playing in the background.
I didn't know
while
that.
she's dancing.
Cool.
We have a little bit of subtext here. Liliana, take it away.
Oh, no, that's all you.
That's a cop-out. Simply just the look on Xena's face when she sees Gabrielle dancing. And there's like a second where They lock eyes, and Xena's like, oh, yeah. She looks at her like, she legit gives her a, oh, yeah, look. And Gabrielle just gives her, like, this grin and goes on with life.
Uh-huh. Starts kicking the bad guys and knocking them out. And
then we have even more subtext with Xena saying, hey, guys, I want in on the fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of subtext for that scene.
Yeah.
And we has another oopsie here. First, we've got the pirate that's trying to advance on Gabrielle. Mm-hmm. And he's got his bow and arrow at the ready to completely just, like, shoot her.
Uh-huh.
And Xena pulls out her chakram, but Ulysses jumps in front of Gabrielle.
Yes.
Somebody pointed out that he doesn't really jump in front of Gabrielle to rescue Gabrielle. He jumps in front of Gabrielle because he knows Gabrielle means something to Xena. And he's like puppy dog in love with Xena at this point.
Okay.
So then we got oopsie.
And that is?
That is in the scene when Xena does her funky flip thing, and she gets the pirate that's still, waiting to annihilate Gabrielle.
Uh-huh.
She grabs him to throw him over the side of the boat. She grabs his scarf, and you see that it's a really bad dreadlock wig.
Yeah.
Because Lucy Lawless accidentally yanks his wig off.
Pulls
it off, throws him over the side of the boat, and throws the wig.
Throws it over, too.
Trying to do what they call saving the shot.
Yeah.
She's trying to save the shot. She actually does that a lot.
Yeah.
In the show. She does that when she frees her arm in that chair.
Mm-hmm.
As well.
Yeah.
And she does that in another scene where Renee O'Connor almost takes her out with her staff. On accident. She's like standing behind Renee O'Connor, and she's like, whoa! Okay, that's enough! So, they've decided they're gonna set sail after Xena and Gabrielle tell Ulysses, no, we'll go. And he's like, no, I'll fill the ship up with locals.
Right.
3 people can man it. And Xena says, well, there's 3 of us here now.
Mm-hmm. And she can do it because, she's got many skills.
Mm-hmm. And then Ulysses is, oh, what a woman. Then they're talking about... Ulysses tells Xena in the next scene that he would like to see the chakram in action. And she said, well, I guess it's unique to me. And he tells her about his bow.
Yeah.
In Ithaca, that it's made out of the strongest ironwood. And it'll go through 3 warriors at a time. And he's the only person that can string it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
He says how it's an ancient heirloom.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much it can't be taken off the island. Is that what it is? Yeah. Because Xena had asked him why he didn't take it with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, because the family forbids it. Or family tradition forbids it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then he tells her... It cracks me up because he tells her the same thing that Ares tells her in 10 Little Warlords. This episode actually calls back to 2 episodes, and it foreshadows 1 episode.
Okay.
Because it calls back here to 10 Little Warlords when she's in Callisto's body.
Uh-huh.
And Ares tells her when she's trying to, like, doctor his wound.
Uh-huh.
He tells her, you may be in her body, but you still have your touch.
Right.
And he tells her that it's gentle, and Ulysses says kind of the same thing. For someone who's so good at splitting heads,
you have a gentle touch.
And he says, well, like I said, he's like, I know, you got many skills. And then when they're talking about them staying on the ship, Ulysses says, well, we'd be going up against a god and your friend. And then Gabrielle pops in, and she very pointedly...
where Xena goes.
Yeah, here's your next bit of subtext.
Yeah.
Because she very pointedly looks at Ulysses.
Yeah.
And she goes where Xena goes. And Xena says, I learned a long time ago not to try and leave her out.
Right.
So, like this episode, subtext-wise, somebody had pointed out in one of the forums, there's never any talk about Xena and Gabrielle splitting up.
Mm-hmm.
It's assumed that because of this scene here, Gabrielle's going to stay with Xena, even if Xena decides to settle in Ithaca.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on one of the forums, oh, they're going to live as a threesome. Well, that's not entirely true, because, like we said earlier, Ulysses shows absolutely no interest whatsoever in Gabrielle, and I doubt Xena would let anybody touch Gabrielle anyway, which was something somebody else pointed out, you know. There's one way to kill Ulysses, just let him touch Gabrielle inappropriately. So, that was in one of the forums. That's my other 2 cents.
That would totally be you too.
What?
I said that would totally be you too. Kill them all.
Oh, I wouldn't say kill them all. I'd just do it.
You just do it, I know.
I'm an only child. I don't share very well.
But anyways,
Yes. Liliana's our tracker.
what?
So, if you guys, like, notice these pauses, ever, which we try and cut most pauses out,
Yeah.
Liliana's what we'll call our tracker. She usually pulls the transcript up so she can keep us moving at a brisk pace. Otherwise, you know, we'd talk ourselves right out of time. But
I have a title?
you have a title. We'll get moving so quickly. Next thing you know, we're like 5 or 6 scenes down, and Liliana will go scrolling on the transcripts like, oh fuck, where are we? Where are we?
Yay! Oh. But, so
Yes. Gabrielle's sick.
Gabrielle, is experiencing her seasickness, which she thinks will pass. Silly little child. And then, don't they, like, pull out a map, and Ulysses points out where Ithaca is, and, so they're, like, looking at their route, right? And then they see that they gotta go by the Island of the Sirens. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I have a question.
Okay.
Maybe you can answer it.
Maybe.
So, the episode The Lost Mariner,
Yeah.
where Gabrielle and Xena are stuck on Seacrops' boat,
Uh-huh.
wasn't the original title of that episode, by the way, but we'll get to that later.
No, it wasn't. Oh.
We just learned that at the retreat.
We
So,
learned a few things.
we did. So, Xena shows Gabrielle that pressure point to curb seasickness
Yeah.
in the episode The Lost Mariner. Why didn't she do that here? Did she just want her to suffer her first bout of seasickness?
That's right.
What's up with that?
I don't know. Maybe it slipped her mind.
I don't know. You'd think with all the heaving she was doing, it would be difficult for it to...
Slip her mind.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, no, I don't know. I have no idea.
So, continue discussing the island of the Sirens.
So, I mean, well, like with the Sirens, they do their little song, which is supposed to draw all the men.
Worst lip syncing ever!
Well, no, wasn't that the Malila one, which was the worst lip syncing?
This is a close second.
Okay.
You have 3 voices going through, and you have literally 1.5 sirens lip syncing. And one of them, the words aren't even matching up. Much like with the Malila lip syncing.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah.
But, I mean, literally all they had to say was, ah, you know?
Right?
Not like that. My voice is a little shot, because, you know, allergies are a bitch. But it was terrible! And then Ulysses is all trying to break his bonds.
Well, that's later.
Well, I'm talking about it now.
Okay. We can jump to that. I
I'm
mean,
just kidding.
because it's
Because what we have here is
up.
them discussing the island of the Sirens.
yeah.
You know, and then Gabrielle in her bardic wisdom is all like, oh, it said their song will lead men to crash onto the rocks to their death.
Mm-hmm.
And Xena's like, all men, I'm not a man.
Yep. Then we have more, of Gabrielle throwing up.
Yay! And then Xena tells her, she calls back to the beginning of the episode where Gabrielle's wanting her to focus on the peaceful grandeur of the sea. And Xena tells Gabrielle, the peaceful grandeur of the sea sure has a kick to it, doesn't it? Maybe you should close your eyes and smell the seagulls.
Yeah.
And then Gabrielle tells her, I'll remember, in my moment of misery, you chose levity rather than sympathy. Which is a cool little exchange, because you don't have much of that in this episode.
No. And we got Ulysses. He's all like, Poseidon's about to, throw a doozy at us.
After Xena tells Gabrielle, wait till the seas get rough.
Yeah, they're about to get rough.
And Gabrielle's like, this isn't rough.
So,
they're about to be.
They're about to get rough.
And Gabrielle said, Xena, would you mind knocking me unconscious? And then we see that, they really do get... These are some dicey seas.
Yeah.
Because you got Gabrielle getting thrown all around the ship. You've got Ulysses getting tossed around the ship. Xena's really the only one that looks like she has sure footing, and she ties Ulysses up.
Ties him up, because, she knows that they're about to get near the Sirens, the island of the Sirens.
She says, I told you I'd get you past the island of the Sirens, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then we got comedic relief in here because Gabrielle pops up.
Please kill me.
But she doesn't.
No.
She still won't die for a few more episodes yet.
Yeah. And then we have the Sirens.
Yes.
Doing their siren-y thing.
When Liliana saw the Sirens cave and them dancing, there's a giant seashell in front of them. She goes, oh my god, it's Aphrodite's shell. So tell me, which Aphrodite shell was it? The one she was born in or the one that she went surfing down the mountain with?
Oh, I don't know. Could have been either one.
Could it? Could it really?
Yes.
Okay.
So they start singing their song.
With bad lip syncing.
Ulysses starts oohing and ahhing and, yeah. He breaks loose of his ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Rushes up deck. And, he wants to go to them. Because they're calling to him.
Mm-hmm. They should have just tossed him overboard.
And then what does Xena do?
He kicks Gabrielle.
Huh?
Ulysses kicks Gabrielle.
And she's trying to, stop him, and, yeah. She gets kicked by him.
And then Xena does, this... I would call it a cry. I wouldn't really call it a song,
Yeah.
She starts... It's... Oh, God, what's it called? They call it a specific type of wailing that she does. I can't think of the word for it, though. Oh, my God.
I have no idea.
But anyway, she starts wailing very majestically.
Yeah.
She's singing, pretty much. It's like dueling banjos with voices.
Yeah. So you got the Sirens, and then you got Xena doing her wailing, and then you got the Sirens, and they're going back and forth. But Xena manages to, I guess, break their song, I guess.
Break the spell.
Break the spell. And then... So...
Ulysses was under their spell. No? Okay. How many Buffy fans are in the house? If you name me the episode, I'll give you a cookie.
It's the musical.
Shh.
Shh. I didn't say that.
Jeez, Liliana.
Well, you said name it. You didn't specify who, so.
I said, who in the house is a Buffy fan?
Uh-huh.
Name me the episode and I'll give you a cookie.
Okay, I did.
You want a cookie?
Once more.
With feeling. Okay. So, yes.
Spell's been broken. And,
Ulysses is all, Xena? No, fucktard! Who else would it be? Of course it was fucking Xena. Renee O'Connor can't sing. You know?
Oh, yeah. And he turns to Gabrielle. Oh, did I do that? Yeah, oops.
Actually, that's a lie. Renee O'Connor can sing. She's a bit off-key sometimes. But she actually doesn't have a bad voice.
She has her moments.
She doesn't have a bad voice.
No.
She's just a little off-key sometimes.
Yes.
Anyway. So, he gets all, oh my god, did I do that?
Yeah.
And Gabrielle tells him, oh, don't worry, the fear that my leg was broken took my mind off my stomach.
For a little while.
Mm-hmm. And then Ulysses is, just becoming absolutely smitten with Xena.
You saved us all. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we have another subtexty scene.
Okay.
When they go below deck to sleep.
Uh-huh.
And Xena and Ulysses are chit-chatting.
Mm-hmm.
About, Ulysses invites Xena for her and Gabrielle to stay on with him in Ithaca.
Uh-huh.
Because he has feelings for her.
He's got the feelers.
And there's a little bit of subtext when they're having this entire discussion. And you have the look on Gabrielle's face. This is where we were talking about Renee O'Connor doesn't have a lot to say in this episode other than being comic relief.
Yeah.
Really. But this scene, she's awake in her hammock. You see her sleeping at the beginning of it. And then, while Xena and Ulysses are having this discussion, it flashes to her and she looks like her heart's just been absolutely crushed. So that's your next little bit of subtext. There's trouble in paradise, and Ulysses is the cause.
Yeah. So
Take it away, Liliana.
he's just going on and on about how he wants them to stay. So, I mean, obviously he thinks that his wife is dead. And he tells Xena how he's falling in love with her and everything. And
You would think that since he's just found out his wife is dead, he would have taken the appropriate time to mourn. But he didn't. He's only thinking with one head, and it ain't the one attached to his neck. It's a true story.
Yeah.
He feels like he's known Xena his whole life.
Yeah. And he say that he feels like she's his soulmate. Nice.
Because she's telling him she looks at Gabrielle and she says, she believes everybody has a soulmate.
Uh-huh. And he's all like, yeah. That's exactly how I feel like I found my soulmate. Xena is not your soulmate. She is Gabrielle's. So.
Is that your final answer? How do you know that?
They are soulmates.
How do you know that?
Because.
Because why?
Because they are. They even say it in later episodes. Do you not remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. So yes, they are. That is my yes.
That's how she introduces her in Friend in Need, Part 1. This is my soulmate, Gabrielle. And see, to me, that just cheapened the whole thing. Which, granted, I didn't get it till the last episode. Because... What? Okay, so here's this. Since Liliana just busted out laughing in front of all you,
that was funny.
When we went to the Xenite retreat, which was hands down like one of the best experiences ever.
You guys gotta go, it's amazing.
So, we got sorted into the Nation of the Amazons, which you guys... have already heard us say. So,
I'm sorry.
In our nation, there are people from all over.
Yeah,
that come to this thing. There are people from the UK, from England,
Scotland,
and
everywhere.
And we had, a girl from England there,
Scotland,
and a girl from Scotland there.
Yeah.
Well, Janine was from England.
Yeah.
She's the one that buddied with us the whole time.
Yeah.
And then we had one named Sandy. And Sandy was from Scotland. So,
I love listening to her talk because of her accent. Yeah. It was just awesome.
And no hand-eye coordination at all. But she was adorable, though.
Yeah.
So, we're sitting there, our last night, and we're all talking about, Xena at dinner. And the comments made, how can you not get that the two of them were together? And Liliana, cuts me this look. And I speak up and I'm like, I didn't realize it until the very last episode. And Sandy looks at me, total straight face, and goes, oh my god, what kind of lesbian are you? And I'm like, what just happened here? And the entire table just erupted in laughter. So
it was funny.
It was funny, but I didn't. So that's why Liliana's laughing at me, because I didn't get it truly until the last episode when they had the water transfery smoochy thing, and then I was like, oh, that's what's happening. So I got it. Oh my god, what kind of lesbian are you? I'm like, god damn it, even the Scots calling me out. So that's why Liliana is busting a gut over here.
Oh.
And she just probably busted your guys' eardrums laughing at me. So, there you go.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was. It was fun.
It was.
Yeah.
A blast.
I loved listening to all the different accents. Like, oh my god, I love these accents.
If you guys haven't done so yet, pop over to our special edition podcast about the Xenite Retreat.
Yep.
In which we geek at you about the Xenite Retreat and how amazing Penny Kavanaugh is.
Well, see, everybody was.
Yeah. Team Awesome really earned their title.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. And everybody there is just... I mean, before we, went to the retreat, because we went to Adrian's dinner first, we had, Carmela, I believe it was, that she's all like, we're all just family.
Yeah.
I mean, and, yeah, you'll just be walking by, and everybody would just say, hey, how are you? Hey, I mean,
hugs.
Complete strangers. They'll just come right up to you. Yeah, hugs and everything. I mean, it's great. So,
and as we told you guys, Robin Godfrey's freaking hysterical.
Oh my god.
She's one of our regular listeners.
She
is
hilarious.
I want to be Robin Godfrey when I grow up.
She is
everything.
Awesome.
Hey, Robin, you gonna do that? Fuck
yes! Yeah.
It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was amazing.
Yeah. So, back to the show.
Okay.
We gotta get back to the show.
Alrighty.
They can listen to the special edition.
Yeah. Go back and listen to that. So,
yes.
Anyways, okay. Where are we? I don't remember.
We are talking now about, we just said the subtext thing after Gabrielle's heard Ulysses and Xena talking.
Oh, okay. That's right.
And then that's when we find out that Gabrielle's awake, because Ulysses goes to walk off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there was a smooch.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Gabrielle's so upset, inner turmoil all around. And then we cut to the next scene, and they're above deck, and Gabrielle goes to Xena, and she tells her, it's pretty obvious the way he feels about you. How do you feel about him?
Mm-hmm. You don't sleep as sound as I thought. Because
she thought it's this torture chamber.
Yeah, because she thought she was asleep.
Yeah. And she tells, Xena's trying to change the subject, and Gabrielle calls her out on it. She's like, don't change the subject, I need to know. Mm-hmm. Which, if you remember back in the episode Return of Callisto, you have Xena very much having the same type of conversation with Gabrielle. Because she asked Gabrielle, what are you going to tell him? Because she needs to be ready.
Right.
And Gabrielle's like, well, no, of course. So Gabrielle's giving her the same spiel, you know, I need to know.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel? And she says, well, you know, follow your heart. Don't worry about me, is what Gabrielle tells her.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where Xena, you know, she's like, well, you're part of my heart.
Right.
Which, would you call that subtext? I wouldn't. I would call it main text. Because she just outright says it.
Says it, yeah.
And, because subtext is all about what they don't say.
Right.
What they say but they don't say. Or what they do but they don't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, Gabrielle tells her, you know, you remember what you told me when Perdiccas asked me to marry him. You said seeing me happy would make you happy, and I feel the same way.
Right.
And we all know that nothing shows love for someone else more than sacrificing your own happiness for theirs. Isn't that really what life is about? No. No, it's not. So then Xena gives Gabrielle this little monologue, you know. She's like, been good for me. If it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't have let myself feel the way I feel about Ulysses now, because you've taught me how to love. Mm-hmm. And then Gabrielle's like,
did you say love?
and yeah, I guess I did. She clearly doesn't catch the, like, horror in Gabrielle's voice, like I did. I caught that one.
And she says, oh, well, I guess we'll be staying on for a while and then you have Ulysses yelling out, Ithaca!
For Sparta! I'm just kidding.
And Gabrielle's just happy that there's land. She is not a sea person.
Yep. And then
they get off the ship and Gabrielle just starts kissing the ground. Like, land!
Ulysses is all like, I'm home and I really don't hate to break it to him, but they're on the exact same beach that they started off in.
Oopsie. They just went around in a circle?
Yeah, pretty much. They didn't even get out of the harbor.
Nope.
So, that's Trista shedding some light on the subject. Bringing him back to reality. So then they go through the woods and they run into one of Ulysses' friends that tells him that
she's alive! Yeah. So we find out here that the wifey is alive.
Penelope.
Yes, Penelope.
She alive! She's alive!
Yeah.
So he introduces Metacles to Xena and Gabrielle.
Mm-hmm. So, and Metacles thought that he was dead.
Yeah.
I guess everybody thought he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But, nonetheless, they find out that, you know, Poseidon's lied to Ulysses.
Right. Because
she's alive.
She is alive. Yeah.
And said, nope, she's very much alive.
Because he just saw her like an hour ago.
Yeah. And then we find out that there are all these pirates that are trying to claim Penelope's hand in marriage.
Right, because, you know, they want to be king.
Right. And Ulysses is like, well, this is Poseidon's work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wanted Penelope to give up hope.
Yeah.
Of ever seeing me. And then he said the fisherman that told him of her death must have done so at his bit. Was it a fisherman that said that?
That's what he said. So, maybe before Poseidon said anything, he was already told that she was dead?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what it, like, sounds like. Is that, yeah, before Poseidon had mentioned that. So he must have encountered...
Or is it an oopsie?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a place where the script was changed and nobody kept an eyeball out on continuity.
I don't know.
So Metacles is telling Ulysses that, you know, he needs to hustle. Mm-hmm. And so he goes onto the castle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we see Penelope.
She comes in with the bow.
And she issues the challenge.
Right. Any man who can string this bow will be the next king. Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
And then back down on the underside of the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Have Ulysses and Xena and Gabrielle, and they all, you know, infiltrate.
Yeah.
He sends Gabrielle off to the kitchen to grab robes. Or the servants' quarters to grab robes. Servants' quarters, yeah?
Yeah, I believe so.
So she takes off. And we have another little heart-to-heart between Xena and Ulysses. In which Ulysses says, I don't love Penelope. I love you.
And then Xena is just brutal with him. She just, yeah.
Jabs the knife into the heart and twists.
Jabs it in and twists it, and yeah. She was brutal.
I liked it. She tells him, I'm not in love with you. I don't think I ever could be. I like my life the way it is.
Right.
And he's like, I think you are in love with me. And she's like, well, aren't you a typical man?
Typical man.
Give you a smile and a kiss, and you automatically think I'm in love with you.
She was how she was embarrassed by all the mushy stuff, and yeah, she just lets him have it.
I liked it. And she tells him he's not her type.
Pretty much, you're not my type. Yeah.
So
he turns around and leaves, and goes off pouting.
And Gabrielle's heard what was said.
She did. But Gabrielle understands what she was doing.
And
so, because Xena's like, well, he needs to decide whether he wants to stay or not without having to think about her.
Right. And, Gabrielle tells her, eventually he'll understand what you're doing. And Xena says, well, maybe the three of us could do some good.
Yeah. So then we're back up top, and we see this, what was it, Laos? Was that his name? Is it
Laos,
even mentioned? Yeah. Laos?
It is, but it's mentioned by an extra in the background, so it's hard to...
So he's trying to string the bow.
Yes.
And he finally gives up and says that, this is impossible. No one but Ulysses can string the bow, and, he's dead. So, and then you have Ulysses, who's, got this robe on and the hood over his head.
Dressed as a peasant.
So, yeah, pretty much, concealing himself. So he's all like, well, I can do it. And then...
They laugh at him.
They laugh, a peasant, how can a peasant string the bow? Seriously doubt it. And then Ulysses says, well, it's said that any man who can string it, will be king. So why not give us peasants a chance? So he says, all right, but just you. And then
Ulysses is struggling with stringing it.
He is.
Till Xena climbs underneath the table.
He had to have a little help, unknowingly, from Xena. Crawls under and, gives him a little hand there, so he strings it. But does he really? Because, he had help.
Technically, Xena strung it, so, is she the king of Ithaca?
I don't know.
The once and future king.
Well, she did pull the sword from the stone.
I know.
She did.
That's in a later episode.
On a later episode. Just bumps it back. Anyways,
nice.
Yeah. So then everybody's like, oh, just like gasping at...
How can a peasant string Ulysses' bow?
Because I am Ulysses, king of Ithaca. So everybody's like, oh, gasping again, because, he's not dead.
He's alive.
He's alive.
Not for long.
Not for long. So
there's a fight.
Yes.
The bow does indeed go through 3 warriors.
It did. It just went boom, boom, boom.
Like butter.
Yeah. It did. So.
And then Xena and Gabrielle clear out. And then they're back on the boat.
Yep.
So, they're getting ready to sail.
Yes.
Xena has a crew.
She does.
And then back comes Ulysses. He's like syphilis. He just keeps coming back.
Yes.
Yes.
So, But he tells her that, you know, he figured out what she was doing with her whole brutal speech.
And it backfired because it made him love her all the more.
Right. She'd be like, well, what about Penelope? You know, and he's like, I don't love her anymore.
And she says, well, does she love you?
And he says nothing.
And so Xena's like, okay, she does.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, I don't know if she loves me. And
yeah,
Xena tells him, you know, your kingdom needs you, your wife needs you.
yeah,
Your home, whatever you feel towards me will pass.
yeah. And he's like, no, I don't think you'll forgive me either. But I think she did forget him, because we never hear about him again.
Mm-mm. It's like with Marcus. And Perdiccas. This next part here is also a callback to, well, it's not a callback, it's actually foreshadowing the episode, The Last of the Centaurs. When she's talking with Balak, and you see more of Xena's backstory, because she tells him, I won't take you away from your kingdom or your wife.
Yeah.
So this goes to show exactly how much Xena has changed even this early in the series. Because when they're doing the flashbacks in the later episode, in Last of the Centaurs, which is season 6, it shows how Xena seduced Boreas away from his wife and his son. And Xena's totally changed at this point because she's like, you know, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And the old Xena would have, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a bit of foreshadowing with the... Because if you pay attention to the look on Lucy Lawless's face, it does look like she has something she's harboring, like, below the surface of her eyes.
Uh-huh.
You know? And there was no way she could have known that that was coming that far down. Because they didn't have season 6 planned out at this point.
Yeah.
But it almost makes you wonder what kind of backstory she'd crafted for Xena in her mind. You know?
Uh-huh.
So she tells him to go home.
Yes. Go home. Go on. Shoo.
Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye.
And Gabrielle asks her how she's feeling. She's like, oh, splendid.
Mm-hmm. And then she tells Gabrielle, you know, he'll learn to love her again.
Yeah.
And Gabrielle asks her, you know, think he knows you helped him with that bow?
She said no. And that she wants to keep it that way because, you know, it's his story, you know. And that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. And then Xena says, well, I got a chance to make... Well, Gabrielle, first off, tells her, you know, well, they should know you did it, you know. People of Ithaca will talk for years about how he bent that bow.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabrielle says, but really you...
Yeah.
And Xena says, well, I got a chance to make someone I care about happy.
Yeah.
And that's the best reward you can have in life.
Yes. Then they say their goodbyes.
And then they sail off into the sunset.
And off they sail.
And we have made it through one of my lowest ranked episodes.
Yeah.
It's no Married with Fish Sticks.
Oh, no. That's bad. But, anyways.
That one doesn't even get a chakram. It gets like, I don't know, half of Gabrielle's folding staff.
So, yes, there we have it.
So, there you have the Tales of Brave Ulysses. Which is one of my favorite songs by the band Cream.
Okay.
So we're done.
We are done.
We're finished.
With this one. Coming up next is the price? Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Price. Which is one of those episodes that I didn't care all that much for starting out in the series. And as I have watched it, now will be the 4th time. It's grown on me.
Yeah.
Because I keep pulling away layers.
Yeah.
From it.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't like the cannibal episodes either.
I mean, they're not one of my favorites. But...
Well, I mean, they're not mine either. But there's a lot of meat to dig into in them. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Uh-huh.
But, yeah.
So that will be coming up next.
The Price.
And-
The Price.
Yeah, we only got like a few more. What? 3 more episodes left in this
3
season?
episodes in season 2.
3 more. What are
I believe.
I believe so too. We've got The Price, which is coming up next. Lost Mariner. And The Comedy of Eros. So yeah, we got 3 more left.
Yeah.
And then we have season 2 wrap up. So.
Alright. So we will see you guys for the episode The Price. And until then, be a force for good.
Yes.
Go do something nice for somebody. It puts a smile on their face because, honestly, they may be smiling on the outside, but you don't know what they're dealing with on the inside.
Very true.
So, you guys give somebody a happy. You guys have happy chakrams. And, we will see you on the next podcast.
Yes.
Till then, Babbling Bards.
Out.
Out.